Good day, student. I will take you through ACT 302, Cost Accounting 2, Study Section 7, Variance Analysis. From the learning outcome of this Study Section 7, you should be able to define variance and differentiate between favorable and unfavorable variance. At the same time, you should be able to discuss the various forms of variance analysis computation. You should be able to explain or tell us the types of materials variances. Of course, you should be able to discuss in details the types of labor variances and explain the types of overhead variances. What is variances? Variances is the process of analyzing variance by subdividing the total variance in such a way that management can assign responsibility for off-standard performance. Involves the measurement of the deviation of actual performance from the intended performance. That is, variance analysis is a tool to measure performance and based on the principle of management by exemption. You see, in variance analysis, the attention of management is drawn not only to the monetary value of unfavorable and favorable managerial performance, but also to the responsibility and causes for the same. Variance analysis. We have mentioned favorable analysis and we have of course mentioned unfavorable analysis. Now, what is that favorable analysis? When the actual cost incurred is less than standard cost, the deviation is known as favorable variance. The effect of favorable variance increase the profit. Favorable variance would result when the actual cost is lower than the standard cost. It is known as positive or credit variance and viewed only as savings. Unfavorable variance. When the actual cost incurred is more than the standard cost, there is a variance known as unfavorable or adverse variance. Unfavorable variance refers to deviation to the loss of the business. It is also known as negative or debt variance and viewed as additional cost of variance. Controllable variance. A variance is said to be controllable if it can be identified as the primary responsibility of specified person or department. That is, it refers to a deviation caused by such factors such could be influenced by the executive action. For example, excess usage of materials, excess time taken by workers, etc. Unfavorable variance. When variance is due to the factor beyond the control of the concerned person, department, it is said to be uncontrollable. Cost variance is due to outside factors. We have examples of that. The wage rate increase on account of strike, like government restriction, change in the market price. We are talking about computation of variances. The computation of variances are the objective of standard costing. If you could remember the standard costing as a topic. And then the causes of variance are necessary to find remedial measures, because variance could be find out with respect to all the elements of cost. That is, I'm saying direct materials, indirect labor, and overheads. So in other words, the total cost variance is split into component parts on the basis of elements, and each element is further subdivided to locate the responsibility of what? Of variance. And the variances can be studied in the following manner. You will start with material variance, then labor or wage variance, overhead variance, that is variable and fixed. Then we talk about sales variance and the profit variance. I think this topic is really broad, so I expect the student to go back to the materials and study variance, the formula, the methodology of applying this formula. And I think we should be able to look at the interpretation and computations in details of variance from the normal study materials. Anyway, material variances. Material variances, it is the difference between the standard cost of direct materials specified for the output achieved and the actual cost of direct material used. So the standard cost of material is computed by multiplying the standard price with the standard quantity for actual output, and the actual cost is computed by multiplying the actual price with the actual quantity. So that means we are talking about material cost variance, which is MCV, equals to standard cost, which is the XC of material, and minus actual cost of material used. From the formula specification, what I am saying is that MCV is equals to standard cost of actual output minus actual cost, or you can say MCV is equals to standard quality of actual cost in a bracket multiplied by what? Standard price, minus actual quantity multiplied by actual price. That will give us SQ times XP minus AQ multiplied by what? AP. I think you should be able to remember that. From material price variance. Material price variance, we are talking about material price variance MPV, that is actual quantity consumed multiplied by standard price, minus actual quantity consumed multiplied by actual price. And number two, that MPV is equal to actual quantity consumed, that is standard rate minus actual rate, which is actual quantity in bracket of XR minus what? AR. Material variance. We have material usage, which from the second side of material, because we have talked about material price, then this is material usage. That's material usage or quantity variance equals to standard rate, that is standard quantity minus actual quantity. That we are having standard rate, standard quantity minus actual quantity, and we have material mix variance, that is material mix variance is equals to standard rate, that's standard quantity, actual quantity, which is equals to XR, that is in bracket of SQ minus AQ, because we are taking standard rate to be the subject of the formula. And if we have to measure the material yield variance accurately, we'll be looking at material yield variance from this perspective, that it is that portion of the direct material usage variance which is due to the difference between the standard yield specified and the actual yield obtained. The variance arises due to abnormal contingencies like spoilage, chemical reaction, etc. And if you are to look at for the formula, we are saying that when actual mix standard and standard mix are the same, the formula is supposed to be MYV equals to standard yield rate, that is in bracket standard yield minus actual yield. Let me repeat myself. For actual mix and standard mix, what I'm saying is that the formula are the same. You can measure it from standard yield rate in a bracket of standard yield minus actual yield equals to standard reverse rate, that is actual loss minus standard loss. So standard yield rate equals to what? Equals to standard cost of standard mix, so that we can have our net standard output. We have labor variances. The labor variances can be analyzed as follows. We have labor rate variance, we have labor efficiency variance, we have labor mix variance, we have labor yield variance, we have overhead, that is variable overhead variance, we have fixed overhead variance, and of course we have what we call the labor idle time variance, which we refer to as abnormal idle time multiplied with the standard hourly rate. I think I will advise the student to go back into the normal study section to look for the details of these labor variances, because I think we need to expatiate more on the labor variances from the study material. But from this slide, we are looking at it from the point that we can view the formula with just a little explanation. I think we have come to the end of this study section. Thank you for listening.